日本時間11月8日、米番組、リッチ愛禅賞では、米スポーツ専門局、ESPN の敏腕記者、ジェフ・パッサン氏をゲストに招き、ドジャースが、ワールドシリーズを3連覇するために、必要なことについて語りました。また、続けて、今オフ、メジャー移籍を目指す、注目の日本人選手を取り上げ、リッチ愛禅氏が、大谷や山本が、ドジャースは最高だよ。なんて言ったら、そりゃ他の日本人も行きたくなるよ。と、大谷選手や山本投手、そして、ドジャースの影響力について語りました。さらに、米メディア、MLB ネットワークでは、米球界が注目する、ヤクルトの村上宗隆選手を獲得しそうな球団について、言及する場面も。ここからは、その様子を字幕付きでご紹介します。
I've been waiting for this news, as you can imagine, for a couple years now. Of course, it was the year of Aaron Judge and the home run chase here in the States that Murakami became the single-season home run leader in NPB among all Japanese-born players in the history of the league. Of course, he passed the great Sadaharu Oh. And a couple teams I'll mention right away. The Seattle Mariners and the New York Mets. The Mariners, of course, coming off of that ALCS appearance. They were a base hit away at multiple points. Sierra from playing in the World Series for the first time in their franchise history, of course, a long lineage of Japanese superstars in Seattle, including Ichiro Suzuki and Kaz Sasaki, going back a couple decades. These numbers, I believe, would play in Seattle when you think about their roster, Sierra. Josh Naylor, free agent. Eugenio Suarez, free agent. Jorge Polanco, free agent. They have some work to do on the infield especially. And the New York Mets, David Stearns, notably, after the trade deadline, Sierra, he made a scouting trip to Japan where he saw, yes, the Tokyo Yakult Swallows play. Their third baseman, Munetaka Murakami. So an in-person look by David Stearns at the potential superstar in Major League Baseball. The belief, Sierra, is that of the two major power hitters coming over from Japan this winter, Murakami will likely sign for the bigger deal in comparison to Kazuma Okamoto. Okamoto is older, not quite the same power profile, but I like the comp that Dan had. Murakami is that true lefty slugger. The power that he's had, that he's shown in NPB, I do believe as well. It's going to translate well to Major League Baseball.
And where do you see him playing? Third or first?
Yeah, that's a huge question right now, Sierra. I think there are teams that like him at third. I think first base might be the safer play, but there's a belief that he could handle either. You might start him at first, depending on just that comfort level. It's maybe a less demanding position at the major league game in terms of the speed of what you have to handle there. So I do think that he might struggle a bit relative to what Okamoto can do defensively. Okamoto, the better pure infielder to play third base, but there are those that believe that Murakami can handle third base. And I think that scouting assessment, Sierra, if you're a team that believes he can handle third base every day, your overall valuation of what his power profile is going to be in the financial component of things will be higher than if you believe he's a DH first baseman.
We have one little bit of baseball news to get to here before we take a break, and this is potentially very interesting. Munetaka Murakami, who is named or nicknamed the Japanese Babe Ruth, is going to be posted by the Yakult Swallows. All 30 clubs have 45 days to negotiate. According to Mark Feinsand, this guy is a stud, big-time power numbers in Japan. We'll see who's interested. We'll see how it translates, and it'll be something.
Everyone loves left-handed power. That's what you want that big thing. He has 30 home run seasons, and 1 year, Matty, he had 56 home runs in a season. This guy's got real power. He's 25 years old, could change a lineup, change an organization.
Not every power hitter in Japan comes to the U.S. and has success.
No, it's true. That is true.
That's the one place where it doesn't necessarily connect. Great pitching success. Ichiro, a rare exception of a guy who had everything. But with the exception of Hideki Matsui, can you name a power hitter that came here? Kenji Jojima was a power hitter in Japan.
Seiya Suzuki's been pretty good.
Seiya Suzuki had a really
He's really had a great year.
That's a really good point.
I mean, he's really been a big bat.
Tsuyoshi Shinjo came here, didn't have the same kind of success. So it's not a slam dunk.
More pitchers.
Yeah.
But like I said, Suzuki's a guy recently that you're like, okay, that might be the best bat in that lineup.
So what's next for the Dodgers to three-peat? What rostering is first up, first order, anything, or they're going to be able to run it back? What do you got for me, Jeff?
They never run it back. They always are looking to add. And the scary part, I think, for fans of anyone other than the Dodgers right now is not only are they returning Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow and Shohei Ohtani to their rotation, not only do they still have Emmett Sheehan and Justin Wrobleski and Roki Sasaki, who, by the way, is still going to be a starting pitcher, River Ryan coming back from major surgery, Gavin Stone coming back from major surgery. And what this allows is for the Dodgers, between that and their surplus of minor league outfielders, to go out and make a trade and try and get a big chip from somewhere. I don't know if that's a closer. I don't know if that's an outfielder, but those are the two obvious places that they need to address. I do not think they're going to be heavy in on Kyle Tucker in free agency. I think that he's the sort of guy who they might approach in a similar tack to what they did with Bryce Harper, half a decade back. Like, hey, we'll give you a very high number on a shorter number of years. But Kyle Tucker, because of his age, because he understands this is his big bite at the apple, is much likelier to seek out, say, a 10-year deal or 11 or 12 years, one of the not quite Juan Soto level, but a contract of that ilk, more than a shorter term, higher average annual value deal like the Dodgers would want.
Okay, because I was waiting for you to say this fellow Murakami who's been posted today. He'll just be the latest guy from Japan who wants to play for the Dodgers, willing to defer everything to 2042. You know what I mean? Maybe he wants to. Where does he fit? The Dodgers just picked up Max Muncy's option. Murakami plays third base. The Dodgers have Freddie Freeman at first base. He's not going anywhere. And they have Shohei Ohtani at DH. Murakami's probably not athletic enough to be an outfielder. He's much likelier to be an infielder. So I don't know that the fit is there. But then again, if he wants to sign for below market value just because he wants to go to the Dodgers, then
get out of here.
I mean, at that point,
get out of here. Get out of here.
Get out of here. There's a team in New England, Jeff, that has a hole at third base.
Well,
now,
Yankees too, man. You're going to be kidding me. The Yankees have a massive glaring hole at third base that I thought they were going to fill with the guy you filled it with last year, and Alex Bregman, who just opted out.
Now you can get him.
So I botched the fella's name, Murakami.
Munetaka Murakami.
Tell us about him, please. Tell us about him.
At 22 years old, Rich, he set the single season record in Nippon professional baseball for home runs hit by a Japanese-born player, breaking a record that Sadaharu Oh had owned since 1964. Murakami has enormous power, the kind of power that dynasties have been built upon. And yet he's got a glaring flaw in that he swings and misses a lot.
Oh,
and he
perfect
strikes
Yankee.
out a lot.
That's a perfect Yankee. I mean, honestly, like Cashman's probably going all the way over there to personally, bring him over on the Steinbrenner jet. That sounds like a perfect Yankee, Jeff. Perfect.
It's really interesting to me, Rich. I'm curious to see how this offseason players who have extreme bat-to-ball skills are valued by the industry, considering that the Toronto Blue Jays made the World Series in large part because of their ability to put the bat on the ball.
You bet. So in the few minutes I have left with you here, as we're off and running on the hot stove, the four-letter word in many front offices, Boris, how is he looming and his clients looming, whether they're free agents or not, Jeff, over the next few weeks?
Well, I think it's going to be the next few months because, Rich, you're used to normal free agency where everything happens in the NFL at one time.
Yes.
Like I was getting tweets yesterday, like announce a signing. I was like, you guys don't understand how baseball works, do you? Like it's going to be a little while until we get the big signings. But Scott Boras, as in every year, has a pretty impressive roster. Alex Bregman, Pete Alonso, a Japanese pitcher named Tatsuya Imai, who you should keep an eye on because Imai is really interesting to me in that he looks like a Yoshinobu Yamamoto starter kit.
They are the same size at 5'11", and yet they both throw gas, topping out at 99 or so. Emai's breaking stuff is very good. He doesn't throw a splitter quite as much as Yamamoto doesn't rely on that, but he has been healthy. He has put up phenomenal numbers in NPB, and he's going to be another guy who's going to be $100+ million pitcher. And it's going to be really interesting to me to see what the market for Japanese players, from Murakami to Emai, Kazuma Okamoto, there's some real guys who could be coming over this winter, and the market for them is going to be super interesting to me because all the consternation about the Dodgers and the dynasty that they've built. There are organizations out there and owners especially who just want to chip away at what the Dodgers have. And the Dodgers' advantage in Japan right now is enormous, to the point where we're joking all of them are going to go and sign with the Dodgers at this point. Right. And yet that there are owners right now going to their general managers and saying, we need someone from Japan on this team right now, if only so we can get into this marketplace for down the road when players, more players come over that were in consideration. And sometimes geographical elements factor in heavily. A lot of guys want to stay on the West Coast because of the much shorter flight back home to Japan. Other guys want to go to New York because New York's New York. And it's, you can't argue with that. And yet I think we're going to see some surprising teams this winter in on Japanese players, just trying to get a foothold in that place that has produced as much talent as it has over the last half decade, especially.
MVP and Ohtani and the reigning World Series MVP and Yamamoto saying to anybody, hey, why don't you come here? We're all comfortable. We're all having a good time.
いかがでしたでしょうか。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーなどを中心に野球情報をお届けしています。この動画が良かったら高評価、チャンネル登録をよろしくお願いいたします。今回も最後までご覧いただきありがとうございました。それではまた次の動画でお会いしましょう。